Okay, you call me, you want to stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of agenda.
Move to approve.
Support.
Bob, just would say I'll have a couple items under old and also some under new.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Minutes of regular meeting September 28th, 2023, as presented.
Look good to me.
We
do have a few changes that we're gonna need to make.
I did bring them in.
I know. Three.
No. Hey, what?
Hello.
Okay, let's see here. Most of these are just for clarification that were under my comments. So on the first sentence, waiting gravel processing specifications, that should be, just to clarify, that's not waiting on spec for like a company to give us the specs of what they're giving us. That's for us to get the gradation specs back from our engineers. So just to clarify that that's the gradation specs of what's being processed, not from a company. And then about halfway down where it's the NRC inspections, it says revealed the density gauge is nuclear powered. We knew that. That's not what it revealed. It revealed that we need the training
For that.
for the nuclear powered density gauge. That kind of sounds like the way it's worded. It kind of sounds like, oh, a surprise! This thing is nuclear. It wasn't. Let's see, a little bit farther down, the road painting, the painting is just started, and it says main and primary. I guess that should actually say primary and local roads, so I know main roads.
So just I guess a question there, clarification. So all of the state highways, does the state have a crew that paints the state highways?
MDOT takes care of all the painting on state roads. Yeah, we don't do anything with that. That's because they contract that throughout the state as a one big contract.
Okay.
Let's see, a little farther down for the road agreement from McChrysop Ranger Power. That's really a road agreement between Ranger Power and Hillsdale County Road Commission. McChrysop is our third-party insurance carrier, and so I'm working with them. Their lawyers and stuff are scrutinizing that road agreement to make sure we're not incurring any liabilities or anything. And that'll be part of my update also on this week's, but that's not an agreement between McChrysop and Power Ranger. It's an agreement between Power Ranger and Hillsdale County Road Commission, with McChrysop helping approve that. And then on page 404, I'll get under theories. The last sentence, consider scheduling special meetings for New Year budget, and I probably really just say for the 2024 budget. So it specifies not just the New Year budget, but what year.
Yeah.
And that's all I got.
That's a no. Any other changes? If not, we stand as amended. Thank you. Real bills, October 5th regulars, $316,390.54. EFT, $41,0548, for a total of $358,196.02.
Move to approve.
I'll support.
Any discussion?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
On page 7 and 9, the SME bill for $14,205.91. What is SME? What are we paying for?
They're the inspections on our roads and the bridges,
Okay.
the density and all that we have to have inspected when the contractors are out there working.
What's the nuclear meter one day? Is that for
Density.
that?
They have them too.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then the density, and then the asphalt, nuclear, okay, and that takes the density of our roads.
Yes.
So is that part of our Pazer ratings then, or?
No,
No.
that's just to say that when we say the road has to be built to this spec and it's got the right compaction, the density tells them it's been compacted correctly.
So is this just on the road projects that we were doing this year?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, those are strictly inspections on the projects that we were doing.
And is that a cost that we incurred because we couldn't do it in-house that we would have normally, or do we?
Some of both, we really wouldn't have and don't have a bridge inspector,
Okay.
which is gonna come into play here in a little bit. If we have a engineer tech or an engineer, they could do
Some
quite a
of
bit of these.
Okay.
It's just there's some that are very technical or take so much time, they would be there all year long and they couldn't do anything else.
Right.
Cause they gotta be right on the job.
Okay.
So it's a little both.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the clarification.
So I have a question. There's a check here for Heath Electric on page 3. Says office generator. So is that installed and up and ready to operate in
Right
case
outside the
we
door
have
there. Yep.
some sort of an event that knocks the power out? Okay. So, but then we still have at least one more to go? And that's the one for the main shop?
The barn, not there's no, it's for the garage. The barn has one already, for storage, for the main shop for to be able to work on the equipment, run the hoist and all that, which needs to be there.
And so, are we still looking like November, December, or?
That's the last word we got.
Okay. That was mainly because they
Getting
were
the
waiting on the
generator.
generator itself.
And that's what was put in the quote that they submitted to us last year, that it wouldn't be here until that time, so it's still on track of what they said.
So with this generator here, now we can pump fuel if we lose power.
We can't open the garage doors or raise and lower a truck, but we can pump fuel.
Any other discussion?
So the Stone Cove, it's almost 60 grand. That just for, is that gravel primarily?
Most of that would be chip seal, some,
Okay,
they crush the
29A.
3/8 by 4. That's what we're using on chip seal roads.
Okay. So that's an expense even after we get this gravel process.
Yes,
We
that's
would
not
still-
what we're processing.
Still gonna be buying this kind of stuff
Yes.
down the road.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Do we do this one too?
Yeah.
think this one's finished too.
Alright. Payroll, October 12th, regular, $110,315.69.
I would move that we approve the payroll of October the 12th. In the amount of 110,315.69.
Any discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. We're done. Treasurer's report.
Beginning cash and investment balance is $4,235,580.87.
Can I stop you there for a minute?
Yeah, we don't have one.
We don't have it.
What's that right there?
That's last meeting, that's 9/27/23.
We got this.
You got that.
I don't even
I
have
didn't
that.
get that.
That's, so he's the one, the chair's the one that gets that.
There we go.
That's better, thank you.
It wasn't an
Just seeing
email.
if you're on your toes.
I spent 30 minutes, I spent 30 minutes.
I'm still awake,
That's the
Bob.
one that was,
It was an email.
oh, this was, okay, that's,
Yeah, because I looked at it in the email.
okay. All right, beginning cash and investment balance is $4,235,580.87. Total receipts was $735,093.60. Bills, total bills and payroll is $468,511.71. Bonds and escrow, $10,250. CD reserved for 2 trucks was $629,182.61. Ending available fund balance is $3,862,730.15. And outstanding accounts payable is $10,496.43.
Any questions? If not, it's same as presented. Thank you. I think before we start public comment, we could have Matt, it's 10:15, we're pretty close. Go ahead, Matt.
Morning, Board. I have today with me Rich Graham from Spicer Group Engineering. Primarily, we want to talk about the stump drain. Rich is the lead engineer on this project and has been in conversations many times with MDOT, coordinating with them on everything. So I think Rich can explain it better.
Thank you, Matt. So we were approached by MDOT earlier in the summer to help repair the crossing that's underneath M99 south of Burt, north of Camden, where that sinkhole is developed. You guys have temporary traffic control out there. So Matt's drain currently, as it exists, is on the west side of the road. It's called the stump drain, which provides the outlet for this ultimately failed storm sewer that goes underneath the road. So as part of the drain code, we can help repair that, and by doing so, we would take over jurisdiction, or Matt's office would take over jurisdiction of that storm sewer that's failed. So MDOT approached us, they said, hey, we'll pay for it if you take it over and facilitate doing a project to repair it. So we've been in the process of, throughout the summer, we're collecting survey data. We punched a lot of soil borings through the road, through the embankment, and then also down at the toe of slope to figure out what the soils were. Our suspicion was that the soils were very poor, and that's what's caused ultimately the failure. That in turn is true. So we're working on designing a replacement. We're going to replace in kind, so it's an 18-inch existing pipe. Clay tile, we're going to replace with 18-inch plastic underneath the road surface with 2 basins on either side on the shoulder, and then transitioning to concrete pipe. We have concerns with flotation of the plastic pipe and a lack of cover on those ends, so we're switching to a heavier material that'll hold grade better. In addition to that crossing, we're also designing there's a secondary crossing just south of there. That's a 12-inch that also ties into Matt's existing drain. We're also looking at replacing that at the same time. All of this being paid for by MDOT. And then resurfacing the roadway from that one open cut to the northern open cut. So we're gonna surface, I think, 400 feet of roadway surface through there. So right now, we're in the preliminary, well, not preliminary, we're working on putting together the Eagle permit, so we have wetland impacts on either side that we have to deal with. By running it through Matt's office and us keeping it the same size and elevation, we're hoping to alleviate some of the permitting back and forth with Eagle Estate. And then we also are working on submitting the MDOT permit as well. We've been in tight coordination with MDOT throughout the design process, sending them what we have and getting feedback back, so I don't anticipate any issues from the MDOT side. However, the Eagle permitting process might take a couple of months. So we're looking to get that submitted here in the next month or so, both permits. Hopefully hear back, and hopefully have a permit in hand, near the end of the year, after, slightly after the first, and with construction starting in the springtime is what we're tentatively thinking. In the meantime, we've been coordinating with MDOT. The permitting issue is basically what's pushed us into next year, having to get that Eagle permit. We thought we could get around it, but there isn't a way. So we do have to submit on that. Unfortunately, it takes time. So ultimately, the work got pushed to next year. We've been coordinating with MDOT. They, I believe, have already gone out, patched the hole, and then flowable fill to try to fill some of the void space. Because they're looking to hopefully get the road opened up for winter time for plow and stabilize it enough to get us through springtime.
Are the stoplights your guys's or MDOT's?
We leased them for MDOT, but yeah, the agreement is we put that flowable fill in, we paved over the top, and they want that to set until almost snow flies. Before snow flies, we're gonna pull them out of there.
Okay.
And as long as everything sets good, we're gonna pull them out of there and let traffic free flow through the winter. And then
Yeah.
when you're ready to do it in the spring, we'll
Just close
break
it
it
down.
down.
Yeah, because we knew that the project wasn't gonna happen until next year, but we hadn't had confirmation on when the stoplights are gonna be taken down.
We'll make sure our snow plows aren't the ones that take them out.
Yeah, that's good. They're expensive traffic.
So they're gonna stay for now, needless to say.
For right now, and
Okay.
I would hazard mid-November, depending on weather stuff, we'll pull them out of there. I've been coordinating with the regional office with MDOT for that, so.
Okay.
So that's the update we have. I guess I can field any questions that the board may have, or.
So I have some.
Sure.
I live not far from there. Get lots of questions from, people down in my corner of the county, when's this gonna get fixed and when's it gonna go away? So are we looking at muck, are we looking at, wet sand or both, as far as soil issues?
It's very loosely consolidated muck, basically.
Yeah.
It's swamp. The road was put over a swamp historically, so the soils are very bad. They go down. So we're proposing, I think that's about a 20-foot cut to get down to our invert, then we're gonna have to open cut the road, and then we're gonna cut down an additional 2 to 3 feet of undercut underneath our invert of the proposed pipe. And then we're gonna fill the trench with filter fabric, fill that with rock, and then wrap the rock with the filter fabric. We call it a stone burrito. It's not very technical sounding, but we call it a stone burrito. We put the pipe on top of that. That basically adds pressure to the soil and hopefully will stabilize it. And then we're also looking at using jointless, butt welded HDPE pipes, so there'll be no joints. I feel, seeing kind of what's happened out there, you've had a joint separation on the old tile, which ultimately sucks soil, so we're gonna try to prevent that moving forward.
Okay, and so then the next question is, when spring comes and once we get to a point where we can, start doing construction work, taking out what's there and doing the new stuff, is there any kind of an estimate in terms of how long are we gonna have the road closed? How long is it gonna take to do the project from start to finish? And I realize, that you can give me a number and it's gonna be sort of a best guess sort of a thing. You're not really gonna know until you
Yeah.
start work.
I think we'll get a better idea when we get it out to bid. honestly, I was surprised at how long M49 was closed, and I hope that this one isn't closed as long. But I wasn't part of that project either, so I don't know the details of that, but, do you have any estimated idea?
So as you all know, it depends on contractor schedule and availability, but, you know, I feel it's probably gonna be a full road closure for a month to 2 months to get it completed. Would be my conservative estimate.
You know, I don't know anything about doing that kind of work, but I figured it'd be at least a month to 6 weeks.
It's a lot of soil to excavate, we're
Oh,
gonna
I
have a
understand.
very big trench, water control is gonna be a big concern, or
That's
big
my-
issue.
That's my concern for spring.
So
I don't know if it'll happen in spring, because if we get a wet winter, early spring, it's a lake on both sides of the road, and it just probably wouldn't be cost effective to try and de-water to do the project.
You might have to wait till August, September.
We had, yeah, this year was would have been good to do it, it's just, things weren't ready, unfortunately, so,
Eagle moved to the snow state.
yeah. Any other questions about M99?
I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public
Have a good
comment? Yeah.
It's kind of a public safety thing. Townships, they find out about something's not right, and we become proactive and repair, fix what's going on before somebody really gets hurt. I see a lot of good things happening here, at the road commission, things seem to be looking a little better. I'm not exactly sure how great it is, but it's better. You have to be reactive to a problem. Generally, somebody's been hurt. You're getting doors knocks from a lawyer, and things are heading downhill, spiraling out of control very quickly. Just about everybody that is anybody that is gonna react to this knows. Mike Rose, fire chief of Hillsdale, he knows about the thing on Bun Road, where there's hardly any. I don't know what's going on, I don't know how your manpower works, I don't know who does any of the scheduling, but this has been going on for a long time, and it really needs to be fixed. You guys got limestone, don't you? In gravel pits or whatever, have you got any extra? Cause you're gonna have to get in there with some type of a machine and fill that shoulder up so it's solid and work on that ditch. I don't know if you've ever seen these bus drivers drive, I don't know if there's any here or not, but they go pretty quick. And, so that's my thing. Be proactive, don't be reactive, because it's gonna cost everybody in the long run.
So where is this spot on Bun Road?
Near a mechanic. I'm pretty sure most everybody's kind of aware of that. I've been kind of harping about it for a while. But it's something that probably really needs to get fixed, and I don't think it'd take more than a day if professional people are there to do it. I'm not really harping yet. I can if you want. Thank you, I gotta go to my meeting.
Thanks. Next.
I was reading the minutes, it's got me down as, talking about the shoulder safety on Doty Road, where it's right next to the edge, that's Huff Road. It's west of Doty on Huff,
It's off west of them.
about a little more than 400 feet, about 430 feet, I think. It's right at my boundary line, and I think I'm 400 some foot wide. But the shoulder comes right up to the edge of the gravel, and it's camouflaged with tall grass, and you can't see if somebody ran off there going over it. There's no something around there.
That all?
Yeah, there's one more thing.
Okay.
I've read this on Facebook, somebody posted it, I didn't drive by to witness it or see what's going on. There's a section of Bun Road, I think it's north of Bankers, that was just freshly paved this summer, topped or something. And somebody said it's only been there about a month, and then they put a seal coat on there, a gravel seal coat on top of the fresh pavement. Is that normal?
Yeah.
You did that all on bacon too, didn't you? That's what you do, right?
Yeah, anything that's seal coated.
It actually helps it to
Paper
get seal
patch.
coated, I mean, it's just where it's at in the, I guess, the grand scheme of things for the seal coat. But it really doesn't hurt the pavement at all, it actually benefits it to seal coat it.
Yeah, I didn't know if it would benefit it or not, cause
Oh, yeah.
it's fresh, it's all tight. and
It keeps the
sealed.
sun from oxidizing the asphalt, so.
Okay. Answers that
Usually cost prohibits us from doing that, cause, you know, usually once you make something a pretty good road, that's a few years before we get to it on chip seal, but.
question. Yeah, I've just never seen
Ideally-
it done before, and I was just wondering on that.
Now, any of the skip patching that we've done, that we're seal coating to seal it in. So if it was just small areas that were paved, then we're potentially sealing those in, and that keeps the edges from rattling later down the road, but.
Okay, one more thing, that culvert, did you guys ever come up with a way to sell that culvert, those used ones?
Yeah, I don't know if we came up with the exact cost, but we'll get with you. It's gone anywhere from half price to scrap price, so. Or,
I'd really like to have that 4-footer out there, I'd make some nice raised beds.
Next. Yes,
If no one else. I was here a couple meetings ago, talking about the police interceptor, the lease car the manager uses. And I was talking about where they charge, it was either $160 or $180 a day, or both. And I was wondering, you said you'd check into it, wonder what you found out about that.
last meeting, I talked about it, that they won't be charged for the rest of the time we're under this contract.
So they,
So basically, the first year I was here, it got charged that way. There's basically a year left, and it won't get charged.
okay, that's why I was curious, because it looked like there was a double charge here on them invoices. Because it showed 160 and then it showed 180, like two charges.
I don't know about that, but it's only charged one, and all of that is only charged for hours I'm here. So it's not like it gets charged 40 hours a week, and same with I'll get into that a little bit later. Same with me, it doesn't get charged like a blanket all year long kind of thing. If I'm here 6 hours today and then go to Jackson for 4 hours, or I take 4 hours off, only 6 hours gets charged to here. That goes for my salary, my radio, or not radio, the phone, the car, everything. But from here on out, we agreed that the phone and the car won't get charged anymore.
Okay, because they were showing that as a daily rate,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, because that's 10 hours. You divide that by 10, that's what it is.
And they were showing, I got their invoices from January till now, and that's been charged ever since for the whole year. That seems like
Not every day,
high.
but just the days I'm here.
Right, but still 130 or 160 or 180 a day for a vehicle, that seems kind of high for a used vehicle.
It's
You drive
Well,
from Pulaski, but,
It's a Schedule C rate that the state puts out.
yeah. I said, you'd think it'd be cheaper to buy a vehicle.
Now, do they charge on holidays for that?
Nope, only when I'm here.
Okay.
Or if I take a day off or, PTO, doesn't get charged. So nothing gets charged to this in my kiosk. I put stuff in the kiosk for Jack.
Well, I don't know that that's fair either, but I think the
Oh, it is.
commissioners need to come to I'm pretty sure there was a charge on 4th of July, and I'm not gonna get into all that, I just hope the commissioners sit down and look at it. It's not even on you, it's on Jackson. That's how they bill, correct? Jackson does the billing to Hillsdale.
Yes,
So I
based off what I
just want them to sit down and check their checks and balances, that's all.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought I saw a charge on the 4th of July.
We also want to thank you, Bob, we had a union management meeting for allowing recordings. And like Bob said, manager, he goes, I got one better for you, you can record it right there, so that was nice. That helps, but I appreciate that.
hopefully it works out good. Thank you. Anybody else? Alan? Nothing?
Alan?
Oh my goodness.
I was gonna say, I didn't think he was here. I was waiting.
Well, got anything?
I'm gonna ask just real quick, cause I just drove down Bacon Road, so tell me what is Bacon Road seal coated? Is that what you just did on Bacon Road? Or is that chip and seal, or what is that exactly?
Chip seal, yeah. This is the emulsion in the stone that gets put on it, and then it'll get fogged, and when we start doing that.
Oh, so there is still another step to Bacon
Oh, yeah,
Road.
there's still gotta be fogged in.
I was curious.
Yes.
I noticed when I went over Cronk Road, which is kind of an incline, a lot of that stone had come off it and it's down in the ditch. So I was just curious if that was done or I mean,
There's
I
always
don't
gonna be
know.
some extra stone where we can just broom it off kinda onto the shoulder, unless it's somebody's yard.
That'll go
We're
off,
trying to-
it's a hill, it'll go off on its own, but I was just curious what that was. That road turned out nice.
But it still has the fog seal, which will turn it black and kinda lock
That's what I
everything down from the top.
Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, you're up, Bob.
I just continue on.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna hop skip around here, cause I got a lot of topics again.
Okay.
Some of them are to touch on things that got done or said last meeting, some of them are new or just updates. So, just so you know, the territorial road bridges did get let. This is the plans for the territorial road bridges. You guys, as the board members, are gonna have to, you've already signed the plans, but we're gonna have to sign the actual contract.
We have to e-sign, right?
Yeah, so with MDOT, we're gonna e-sign pretty much any contract like this, from here on out, it's gonna be like an electronic signature. It's really a fairly easy process of what they've gone to from what they had. So basically, I've gotta send them an email saying whatever, all the board commissioners, full names, email, and duty title, which, chairman, vice chair, member, or whatever. And then they're gonna email a copy of that contract to each one of you, and each one of you are gonna have to open that contract. And then there's just basically buttons that you go to each page that you need to sign, and you click it, it's gonna electronically sign it. That program's already set up, and
Yeah, the last one I did was really simple.
it's really simple, but you will have to get in your email. So if you need to even come in here, just log in or get on one of our computers, we can get you into your email and do it right here too. So with that, that's the territorial road. We'll do the digital signatures. We're also gonna do digital signatures on the safety grant for the rumble strips and the painting and stuff that we got that grant for. That's also gonna be an e-signature when it comes through. It hasn't come through yet, but it'll be here shortly. Just to update the seal coat, we're complete on our seal coat, except for the village of Reading. We've got a few little streets inside the village that we've gotta try to hopefully do Monday. Then all the seal coat will be done, and we'll switch the tanker over to the spray nozzles for the fog, and we'll start fogging every road. Just so you know, and I'll probably hit it down here too, but we had Jackson called and said they're done with their fog, and they still had like 2,100 gallons of fog on their distributor. And I was like, well, bring it down and spray it. And so they brought it down to Somerset, and they sprayed out what they could. Like I said, they had 2,100 gallons. He said they were going to basically charge us for 1,800 gallons. And the time of the guy to come down, we used our flaggers to flag for it. So we got a little bit done early, but it'll kind of blend right in. We'll take off where they ended and just keep on going. So if you got any complaints from the township saying, oh, they only stopped halfway down my road, well, that's where it ran out. Yeah, so
I'm glad you said.
we'll continue from there. At the same time, we've also had their street sweeper down here to help sweep up some of the loose stone that's in like the yard where yards are, so we're not sweeping the stone just into everybody's yard. So it's picking up what we can. It can dump into a tandem, and then we haul it to one of the pits, and we can reuse it for something else. We can't use it again for seal coat because it's going to be too dirty. But we can use it for other kind of fills and projects and stuff. So we've had their street sweeper down for a little bit, been going back and forth with some mechanical issues. They got it all straightened out, and so they're gonna try to sweep up where they can on, especially all these little lake drives and people that have yards right there. So we'll use our broom to keep doing just out in the rural areas. Let's see. Montgomery Road from M49 to Abbott. We were out there, again, Jackson brought down their mill, their W-150, which is a 5-foot wide mill. We milled out the butt joints and the slopes on each side to taper it in so that we can go in there as soon as weather allows us to pave that mile stretch from M49 to Abbott.
Possibly next week.
That's all gonna be on weather. Well, actually, it won't be next week. It'll probably be more like the week of the 30th. Next week, Mark that runs that program and Kevin and a couple of them are going to a conference, and so they won't be here. And so it'll probably be the week of the 30th, depending on weather. He's planning on about 4 days, because it's gonna be 2 lifts, and so like 1 mile going one way one day, 1 mile coming back, and then the next day a mile doing the top lift. And so it'd basically be 4 lifts that they'll be doing 4 days. Hopefully it works.
How cold, what's the minimum temperature in order for them to continue breeding?
Preferred or minimum?
Well, what's the preferred and then what's the minimum?
I prefer it to be above, at least above 50. I think we can go to like 40 or 45. But I believe 1 year in the
I
past, it was
prefer
pushing,
it's not snow.
and
Well,
it's been
that's-
pushing snow before. That's not ever a good
No.
issue. But right now it is milled. They milled out 3.5 inches at each end, because that's what it's going to be, is a 3.5 inch overlay. And then they tapered it in so there won't be a big lump there. And then it'll be like an inch, inch and a half base with another 2 inches on top for the top course. And right now we've got breakers, we call it breaker, just some millings put in there to keep that from being an abrupt bump when people are going over it, and when they get ready to pave it, they'll scrape that out of the way and broom it off and pave it.
I was through there last night and, yeah, it wasn't bad.
Okay. They're gonna check it each day until we get it paved. They'll go down each day, each morning or whatever, and make sure it's not like washed away, blown away, somebody's spun it out with tires, who knows, but they'll check that until it's done. Let's see. The Denny's Road culvert is complete. We're just waiting on the contract to come back from Moscow to finish that up. The Mead Road culvert is complete. Paver patching is done on Pittsburgh and Squaw Field. We started the deberm and ditch process on some of them. So Blair Road in Reading Township and Black Bridge Road in Jefferson Township we're working on right now. The Blair Road is they're using the 4-speed loader that we bought off of Lenawee. So far it's been working pretty good. Even the guys seem to say they like it. So we'll see how it goes. They're using the traditional loader method on Black Bridge right now, and we'll just keep hitting the roads until we get all the township projects that we've signed up for done, and then we'll just, depending on weather, we'll just keep going on roads that need it. And we have complaints on certain roads, there's like spots here and there, but so we'll keep going where it works best for us. The Camden Road crescent shape is done. We still have the one bad spot. I believe it's down by Heather's house. They've got to get fixed, and engineering has the bill from Gherkin and is scrutinizing that with Gherkin right now to see who's paying for what for these areas we had to go back and fix. We still got to get the one fixed. We went out and took a look at the ditching or the lay of the land out there by the Borson Farms that we had that issue with the water. I think we're gonna have them, again, have engineering come down and take some shots and see exactly how deep those ditches would have to be and which way it's best to flow the water. And I think we're just gonna go in there and do some ditching, and water goes where it wants to go.
So what road is
Uses
this
the low.
on?
Cold roll.
So is this in Reading Township or Allen Township?
The border
That would
between Allen and
Reading, okay.
So basically, Borson Farms are on one side, got some big buildings, a big paved area. All that water runs out. Sometimes it runs across the road, which washes the road. then floods the guy on the other side out with his field. And so there should be an easy enough way to, if it flows right, to ditch it on both sides to make water flow on both sides where it needs to go. And as long as we don't have to go too deep, I think there's a gas main on one side that we gotta stay away from. But the other side where most of the water, I think we can take it down to where it needs to go. So we take some shots to see how the lay of the land goes. We'll be able to determine that.
Should this issue have been taken care of when they built the building?
Probably.
So where
I
was
don't
the
know how long ago
failure?
that's.
Where,
There's just a lot of impermeable ground and buildings that causes a lot of water to shed in a small area. It should have never gone that way, and I don't know if it was ditched and it got filled in. That's usually what happens, but
so these aren't new buildings, these are
No.
not newer buildings?
No, it's been there.
Been there a while.
so
So does Borson even still own the land?
I believe so.
The barns are around them, I believe he does.
Clearly, we need to do a little bit of ditching to get the water to flow where it needs to flow, not go across the road, and actually go where it needs to go, not onto somebody else if it doesn't need to go there. So I just wanted to let you know we've looked at it. We're in the process of trying to come up with a game plan for it.
I guess one more follow-up question.
Hmm?
If it's coming from their buildings, their concrete, is that a road commission responsibility to take care of that? Or should the owner of that property be responsible for taking care of paying for some of that ditching?
Maybe right up there around their facility, but as it goes from there and goes away, that's still just the road ditch. I mean,
Okay,
the water's gotta get somewhere.
well, I get
Now,
that, I get that, I just
They
don't
might have
know.
filled in some of the ditching, yeah, but I mean, that happens around every lake and around every subdivision there is in the state.
Okay,
If we wanted to charge everybody for filling in the ditch, we could make a lot of money, I guess, but.
okay,
That's just what I was gonna say.
Yeah, my thought is if you're expecting a dollar contribution from them, that'd be good luck in getting it.
Now possibly, and it's another thing that I'll be talking about here in a second, if it's an issue where they put something in and one didn't get a permit, didn't get the drain tube put in, or just put something in,
Right.
yes, we can deal with that, we can have them pay for the tube and pay for a permit.
okay.
In the grand scheme of things, not a big thing, but that's a pretty wide drive that they got right there, that we normally wouldn't put in something that wide without having some way of water getting into the ditch line.
Sounds like,
So we have the ability to find out if a permit was pulled for that?
Oh, we can, but I'll almost guarantee you what.
I'll guarantee you.
So, and if it needs a tube, that's how they can get the tube, is do the permit, we'll go through that process, and they gotta buy the tubes and that kind of stuff, but. Again, there's a lot more that's gonna go into this. This is kind of just the,
Preliminary.
yeah. Okay, let's see. About 90% of the long line painting has been done. We still got a little bit more of that, but then he'll switch over to doing like all the special markings, like school zone, railroad crossing, stop bars, all that kind of stuff. So they're making pretty good progress with that. They should be done hopefully within a couple weeks. Kind of talked a little bit about the Ranger Power solar farm earlier, but I've got a meeting right after this, about 1 o'clock, I believe, with McChryssup, our third-party insurance carrier. We're going over the road agreement that they sent us a road agreement saying this is what we want to do with your roads while we're here, and we're like, no, we'll tell you what you need to do for our roads. And so the McChryssup lawyers have gone over it. They've sent them back a proposal, like a draft. They kicked back another, draft to their draft, and so now we're going to sit down. I'm going to sit down with McChryssup and see if what they sent back is workable and takes the liability off and doesn't damage the roads. And pretty much everything they're doing is boring under the roads. All their stuff stays on private property until it goes under a road, and then they're going to bore under the road. So it's nothing drastic to the roads, but they still got to they wanted to pull one permit and say, we're done with permits for the year, or for the project, we're like, So anyway, more to come with that, I've got a meeting with them a little bit later today.
Just a comment that I would make based on the experience that, you know, the road commission and townships and citizens had with the crew that put the windmills in. I think we've got to be careful here.
I think it's, yes, I agree with it, but I think it's like two totally different processes is what they're using. The windmills hauled a lot of heavy stuff in and damaged the roads. These aren't gonna have any oversized or heavy loads. They're really, when it comes to it, small loads, light loads. But then when it comes time to go under the road, they'll use a bore and go under it and not even touch the surface of the roads. So.
When the wind turbines did.
So yes, we do need, and they do have haul routes, even though their trucks aren't gonna be heavy, but they're gonna have multiple trucks. And so they're still gonna have haul routes but they're totally legal.
So I guess a question I would have is, I know glass is heavy, are these glass panels, should these glass panels be heavy if they're all put on a truck? How does that
I doubt they're glass.
Oh, you think they're plastic panels?
Yeah, I think they're like a thick.
Okay.
Because the panels that they have aren't heavy at all. I mean, each
Okay.
individual panel, now, I don't know how many they can stack on one
Right.
truck, but they flat out said none of our trucks will be oversized or overweight.
Okay, alright.
Okay. M49 at Arkansas Road, after talking, I went and talked to the inspectors yesterday, and I got an email from MDOT yesterday. They plan to have that open by end of business tomorrow. That's with weather permitting, because the one thing that's still holding them up is the slope restoration. They're out there doing it yesterday. They have to have the seed and mulch and all that done before they can open it up. And if rain doesn't allow them to do it, they're not gonna open it until like Monday, or whatever weather allows them to get the slope restoration done, then they'll open it up. But they're projecting, the email said noon tomorrow. The inspector said, well, about the close of business tomorrow, depending on weather. So hopefully all goes well and tomorrow it'll be open.
So I was told last night at the Camden Township meeting that, you know, it appeared to be pretty much done, except that there were no guardrails. Are there guardrails that they're gonna put up yet?
He did talk about a guardrail on it has to be the west side. The east side doesn't have enough, difference to have a guardrail there. Okay. The west side has a more of a drop off there, so they were talking about that too.
So is that gonna be a condition to quote open?
Not that, probably if you go out there today, it's probably today, tomorrow, it'll probably be in there. It doesn't take a contractor long to drive those posts and put a piece of guardrail up.
Well, all I could think of is, you know, it took a month or longer to get the guardrail materials for the Camden Road Bridge that crosses the St. Joe River. You know, the road was fine, but it took a long time just to get the material there to do what they needed to do.
Hopefully they've been working on this thing for.
Well, yeah, I you know.
That's their intent, especially to have it open.
With harvest season, that's an important road and it's an important bridge.
Yep, I think they've been getting a lot of pressure.
Good.
So that's the last word we got. If I hear anything else, I'll let you know. We've got the Bivens Road, Stone Cove ordeal issue, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Still in the works. Still I've had a meeting with two of the residents here this week, voicing their concern over it. Stone Cove is given Moscow Township a kind of I don't know what to call it an agreement, but hey, this is what we'll do for you. And it kind of did, well, if you do the tunnel, this is what we can do. If you close the road, this is what we can do. And so it's all over the board. And when I talked to McChrysip, they're, like I said, they're a third party carrier. So when I talk to them today, I'm going to address that with them too, because they're going to have to, if we close it, it's got to go through circuit court and the whole abandonment process. If we just do the tunnel, we can do that ourselves, you know, with a permit and all that. So we still have to make a decision, and you as a board are gonna need to make a decision on which way we go. I think there's still a lot of talking. They wanna be up and running by spring, I believe. So there's still a lot of discussions that have to be made there before we make any decisions, I think.
So if there was a move to abandon the road, would we have to hold a public hearing? I would hope so.
I will get all that from Chris. They have whole packages. If you're gonna abandon the road, even if it's just a, you know, just a little stub that goes into somebody else's property and you're gonna abandon that, they got a whole package to go through circuit court and resolutions and what it takes to legally abandon that road. Cause I know in the past, a lot of road commissions just said it's abandoned, and I don't know if it's ever gotten done correctly. So they got a whole package that we'll go through if it gets abandoned. If it's just the tunnel, we can do that ourselves with basic permits and stuff like that. So more to come on that. There's still opposition from the residents, and there's still some questions, and yeah, more to come on that.
Well, as one member of the road commission, I mean, if I had to make a decision today, I would say no. I don't want to abandon the road.
Okay. Well, and once we get everything together, and this is what Stone Cold's proposing, this is what Moscow Township would like to see, this is what's best for the road commission as a whole, we're gonna have to sit down and discuss it in depth, because one way or another, one side's not gonna be happy with this one.
No.
All right. So the drainage issue for Tim Godfrey on Sterling Road. We've tossed that around a little bit. He was proposing a 12-inch culvert that runs the length of that. Both me and Kevin think that's a little small, and either want to try to figure out a way to run a dual 12-inch or upsize it to an 18 or 24-inch. That adds significantly more cost, you know, as you upsize it. So we're gonna have to work with them to see what they'd like to do, and I wouldn't be against some kind of a cost share for the difference in the size tube or something, because he was gonna put it in himself, do all that, and he was gonna originally pay for the 12-inch himself, and it's totally on him. If we ask him to upsize to a 24 and it costs, you know, so much extra a foot, and we want to cost share with that, I mean, I would propose that. But again, we're in getting the estimates to see how much the different styles of pipes are going to cost, and I'll come back to you on that. So maybe a plan is to cost share a certain percentage or something of that. Last meeting, we talked about the directional signs for the Kimple camp, and we just happened to be out there, going over to the Montgomery Road thing the other day. I don't see why we can't do something like that. We'll have to figure out what kind of signage, where to put it, and that kind of thing, but I see the reasoning behind it, and I wouldn't have an issue with putting some kind of directional sign to keep them from going down the dead end road and send them on up to where they actually need to go. So we'll work with that, work with the sign shop so they can make up a new sign to come up with something for that. The tree at the dam in Cambria was removed the other day. So again, we got a set of log tongs and used our great awl to basically lower them down in there and grab that out of there, and it seemed to work pretty good. We cut it up and hauled it off with a 1-ton, and so their fire hydrant is safe. Let's see, I've got a request from Van Brunt Trucking that would like to lease space in our pit there off US 12 Jerome Road to put some wood chips, byproduct, whatever, for up to 6 months, and offering $800 a month per month for up to 6 months if we allow him to use that. So I guess that would,
And he'll have it out by spring. It'll all be gone this spring.
We don't need the space.
no, we don't use it for right now anyway. What little we got there, you say you could send over to me too, but
in the corner, it won't bother us.
it sounds like that what he's asking for, the space he's asking for is doable, but I guess it's just, if you guys wanna do it or not. I'm okay with it.
What about wear and tear on the pit, or rutting, or driveway issues, or
I
any
don't
of
think
that
you're gonna
stuff?
hurt that pit much.
Okay.
It's just
I don't know.
a gravel pad, there's all that's left there really anymore, so.
And he'll furnish a liability, naming Hillsdale County Road Commission
He sent me a letter explaining what he's asking for, kinda like a
proposal.
proposal. And he said they would have insurance naming Hillsdale County as additionally insured, so we're covered under anything that might happen out there.
I guess the only question I would have is, isn't that one of the locations that we use to stockpile limestone that we haul spread in Somerset Township?
Yeah, but as big an area as in that pit,
Okay,
there's a lot of them we don't use.
okay. I mean, I've never been there, so that's why I'm asking, and
We drove up there and
Glad to
looked
hear
at
you
it, there
say that.
seems to be, from what he's saying, from what Kevin's saying we use, seems to be enough room there, so.
In the pits at US 12 and
Jerome.
it's on the north side of 12. isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yep,
Yeah.
kinda wedged right between Bundy Hill's, Stone Blue's pit and the road, so. So if you are okay with that, I can work on that contract with him and the agreement and for $800 a month for up to 6 months.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds all right to me.
Yeah. The gravel specs that we talked about earlier on the meeting minutes from last meeting. Other than he wants to run it again to just double check the loss by wash. Basically it came out to just shy of a 23A because the loss by wash was too high to be considered 23A, so it's technically a 22. I just had a little too many fines that when they got washed, too many fines were gone. So it says there isn't as much clay in there as what it would need for 23, but I guess it was right there on the border. And so either way, I think it's a good benefit, you know, because 23 might have too much clay for some things that we want to do, but and 22A works good on a lot of the roads because it's already got clay. So that's where we're at right now. If I hear anything different, I'll let you know, but we're kind of sitting at a high 22A.
You've been using some of it anyway, haven't you?
No, we haven't used any of that yet. We may. She's gonna give me a dirty look. It hasn't been put into stock yet. He's still processing it and building the stockpile. But with some of these deberm and ditch jobs, we still have about upwards of 10 to 12,000 tons of gravel that we need to put on some of these roads to do these projects. And Carr Brothers doesn't have that much sitting on the ground, so we may need to dig into there and get some of that. And just we'll hold off so that she can account for it all, you know, on charging it. But right now we had the drone fly over that, the millings piles here and all the little piles here, and to do like an inventory of it. And right now we're showing it's not quite at 16,000 that he's processed there so far. And so we're probably taking at least half or better of that we need to finish out these projects. Which he can just keep processing there. We've got it for 6 months, and depending on where we're at, I mean, that'll be something else I'll bring back to you. We are hosting the Frugal